Presence by Steven Soderbergh is not a horror movie.
What?
So why am I reviewing it? Because it's a ghost movie that was marketed as a horror, so into the theater I go. And you know what? It wasn't bad. It's a well-told story of a ghostly presence watching the family that moves into a house and observes them as they go about their lives. As we observe with the ghost, we start to uncover something sinister at play in the lives of the family. The basic story is one day, a family moves into a new house shortly after a traumatic event happens wherein two friends of the daughter, Chloe, have died suddenly. The family dynamic is interesting as there is some clear tension between the husband and wife due to relatively unexplained conflict like some illegal activity going on, and the siblings don't get along much either. Tyler, the eldest and favored by his mother, played by Lucy Liu, Chloe is quiet and introverted and has to be stood up for by her father. The obvious favoritism by the mother to her son comes to a head in a dramatic scene at the dinner table. After Tyler makes friends with Ryan, he and Chloe start to develop a crush, which leads to a relationship. Things seem to be going well for Chloe finally, but then they take a turn. I won't spoil the movie, but the story develops from there rather well, and we get a nice twist ending that satisfies the build-up. While this is a ghost story, there's not much horror. Rather, it's a story that explores a haunting from the perspective of a ghost that isn't malevolent. The ghost genuinely tries to help the family in certain situations by making a shelf fall when there's apparent danger somewhere else, or causing the lights to flash when it wants to pull their attention away from something. The family, obviously, begin to feel fear, but we as an audience don't, because we know the ghost isn't trying to harm anyone. I want to give props to David Koepp for writing a father figure as a mentally stable adult and patriarch, whom, while occasionally butting heads with his type A wife, commands the respect of his family while portraying tenderness and kindness to his daughter, whom his wife doesn't understand and also practically ignores. He's concerned about his family and wants to do what he can to protect them, even paying for a psychic medium to come in and analyze their experience. This is where the movie caused me to dip out for a bit. I have a problem with mediums and psychics in movies because I think they're more bullshit than religious archetypes. As soon as you introduce a random nobody who has a gift of sight, my eyes glaze over and I wait for the impending exposition dump the characters need to move on to the next scene. This character, and this scene in particular, is wasted in this film and could have done without. What the medium tells us about the ghost is revealed at the end, and if you've simply been watching the movie, you can figure out everything she explains by yourself. The concept of following around a ghost for a whole hour and a half could become boring to some and remind us of In a Violent Nature, where we follow around a trudging slasher for the same amount of time, and can really start to make you feel the runtime. But I think the pacing in this is better. There's going to be a lot of criticism of this movie because it was billed as a horror, when it's more of an experimental drama that just so happens to be a ghost story.
Really?
So I would blame a lot of that critique on poor marketing. The film, however, is a quality one, and I recommend anybody see it, especially those who may be new to the horror genre or want to explore more nuanced horror-adjacent flicks.